Welcome in to yet another episode of Building the Pride. I am your host, Drew, and I'm joined always by my co-host, Mike. How are you, Mike?
Fantastic, Drew. It's always a fun time after a victory. So, how about you? Fantastic, I can tell.
Outside of the little coughing mishap there, I've been all right. So back is getting better.
Excellent.
Which I don't recommend that anybody has back problems. It's just
it sucks.
It's miserable. So we're not going to do news and notes when we're on the NFL today because
there's not a lot going on.
It's not. People are getting hurt. A couple of suspensions. We could talk about some stuff like the state of throwing the football is the worst that it's been in 4 years, and no one seems to know why. So it's probably a combination of things, and
it's not just the total stats either. Like the actual performance is taking a dip. It's not like just like, oh, there's fewer touchdowns being thrown, or there's fewer yards, but like the players themselves have also not played particularly well.
So I just wonder if that's like, are we in an era where defense is ahead of offense? Because it doesn't seem like we should be, but are we? Like,
it is on our team.
I've heard that the NFL has a drastic shortage of quality offensive linemen. So are those two things playing off against one another? Which seems weird because, I mean, interior offensive linemen got the bag this free agency period for the people who hit the open market. So, we saw major extensions for a lot of tackles. So, I mean, obviously the NFL is prioritizing any quality offensive lineman that they can get their hands on is just worth the price. So that seems like that kind of points towards quote unquote being real.
Yeah.
Are we in an era where 7-on-7 quarterbacks can't function like they're quote unquote supposed to at this level? Maybe, probably. So I'm just wondering, in an era where it seems like the NFL wants to continue to move faster and faster with everything, are we in an era now where we have to develop offensive linemen and develop quarterbacks to a higher degree before we can quote unquote make our team good? And if that's the case, then like, what does that do to roster building? So
yeah, and is there a bigger focus on the run game?
Well, I think
go ahead. I'll say we've got two guys already in just 3 games that are over 300 yards rushing. Actually, we've got 3 guys: Saquon Barkley, Jordan Mason, J.K. Dobbins, all have over 300 yards rushing. Kamara's at 285, Henry's at 281, Monty's at 230, Gibbs is at 207. I mean, like, there's a lot more. It seems like there's more running in the first few weeks than there has been in years past. And I don't know if that's just a recency in my brain thing or if that's an actual factual situation. I may at some point take a peek and see what the number of rushing attempts were in the first 3 weeks, or more than likely it'll be after this next week, and it'll be in the first 4 weeks of this season versus last season versus the season before. Are we seeing more rushing attempts? And if not, are we seeing more yards per attempt? Are they just getting better at it? Like, so I'm kind of curious what that would look like.
I think we talked about this a little last week. I think teams are playing too high safeties to take away big passing plays. And the natural response to that is, if you have a lighter box, like, you should be running the ball because you have 2 defenders further away from the line of scrimmage. So I think that for teams that can support it, if you have a quarterback that can go up to the line and check to a run when you see too high, like, you're probably making the correct call. So, and if you have a lot of people in the box and you can check to a pass, like same thing. Like if you just need to be able to have the flexibility. So probably a lot more complicated than what I'm leading on with. So, but that's just one of the many things we're going to learn over the course of the year. So Lions won in Arizona.
Love it.
I'm happy about them winning. Oh, Brian's here.
Same.
Yards per attempt. Hi.
Hey, Brian.
Yards per attempt will go up as our line improves, assuming we are balanced enough to keep defenses from sliding up to stop it. How is our O line going to improve? Because I would love to know how you think that's going to happen.
Well, the first couple of weeks we were not as strong as we were last year. I'd say that almost across the board offensively, with the exception of JMO, who's taken a big step forward, and our running backs, which I think are equally as good as last year. Everybody else is, I don't want to say they've regressed or taken a step back, but they haven't been as efficient and as good. But I think Brian's right. Improving, meaning they get snaps together. I think we didn't even play in the preseason, right? So that has to have at least a little bit of effect on that. And as they're getting more snaps together, again, I think we'll hopefully keep improving on the offense.
So I can't tell if this is not big enough because I can't see our screen.
Oh, do you want me to add
There we
it?
go.
Oh, you got it.
There we go. So let me make this larger. For what I don't know why Awosika is listed here instead of Glasgow. Have you heard anything about him being hurt?
No, I believe Glasgow. He's in the middle because Ragnow's out.
Oh, you're right.
Ragnow, I believe it tore a pec.
Yeah.
And Glasgow's moving to the center, and Iwasika is going to be left guard.
So they've ruled Ragnow out?
I don't believe they've ruled him out. I think the expectation is that he will be out. The rumor is the dude is a beast and says, I'm going to do everything I can to play. I don't want to sit. Pec muscle tear, be damned. And that dude is a beast. So you never know with that guy.
So Sewell is playing great. He's not as good as last season, but he's getting there, right? His grade's going up. Zeitler has come in and played great through 3 games. Ragnow, unfortunately, being hurt, hasn't been the top 3 center this year that he was the rest of his career. And Glasgow has also not been good. Bless you.
Thank you.
So, and Decker's who Decker is, like Decker's top 15, top 20 tackle in the NFL. He's just steady Eddie. I mean, I see Sewell getting better.
Yeah.
But if you told me Zeitler would have an 80 grade at any point in the season, I'd been like, neat. That's great.
Yeah. He's
I don't know
7th. He's listed as 7th in the NFL right now, and Sewell's listed as 5th.
7th out of 67
guards.
So he's a top 10 guard. So hopefully, I don't know that Glasgow will perform any better because remember last year he played right guard and they've switched him to left because they signed Zeitler. So I imagine that some of the rust or non-stellar play that we're seeing from Glasgow this year is in result to switching sides. And now he's switching positions and you're bringing in a left guard. So that is a backup. So, and
the good news is he's played center before.
Right.
So he's played center while Ragnow's been hurt in the last couple of years. So they've got, it's not like this is going to be new to him. He won't be obviously as good as Ragnow. But hopefully there won't be as bad of a drop off as if we threw whoever our developmental centers were that were on our list, right? So
that is something
could be worse.
That is something I want to talk about today. So
yeah. What are your thoughts?
So far, we've complained not in the recent past that Detroit got a week 5 bye, but this year it's looking like they're going to need it because Laporta's got an ankle, Ragnow's got a pec. You know, who else? There's other people on the team that are banged up.
Marcus Davenport, has a
out for the year.
season injury. Yep.
Derek Barnes going to miss significant time. Brian Branch in the concussion protocol. Terry and Arnold,
McNeil,
finger, hamstring. McNeil, you know,
day to day with Laporta.
Day to day, you know. So the injury bug remembered that Detroit was a city. And has come to visit. We'll see how long they're here for. One of the things that we should be grateful for in regards to the last two winning seasons of Detroit Lions football is that they have not had this level of injuries on the team at one time.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting to my point with because we got the thing like, oh, the backup center issue or whatever. Here's my point. You sign Emmanuel Mosley to a 1-year deal twice. You sign Marcus Davenport to a 1-year deal. You trade up for Sione Vaki and convert him back to a running back. Like you trade up for Manu, you trade up for Broderick Martin, you know, and these are guys that you're giving a year off to develop, right?
Red shirt.
Okay. You draft, red shirt years, right? Exactly. So you draft a developmental guy in Colby Sorsdal, right? And I think on paper, it looks a lot like, oh, we're really developing some depth. Okay. Oh, Anzalone didn't play in this game. So what's his status? You know, like hopefully he's back. You know, and so I'm thinking to myself, as I've been looking through, and remember, hey guys, chat, I asked you last week to bring your Lions top 3 needs in the draft this week. So if you guys did that or can make it up on the spot, please throw that in the chat. I got a pen and paper ready to write it down. So it looks like they're doing a lot to develop depth, right? But Davenport was the problem. The reason why he was an easy sign in the offseason was that he was hurt. The reason that why Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was an easy sign in the offseason was he was hurt and he plays safety. And those get to free agency quite often. Like the reason why Emmanuel Mosley was an easy sign in the offseason was he was hurt. And, you know, and now those guys aren't here because shockingly they're hurt, right? And so you're redshirting the guys who, you know, traded up to be developmental players. The guy that you traded up for and gave a red shirt year to last year is hurt and on NFI. So I mean, like they have made a lot of moves to develop depth. Very few of them to me look like they have developed any actual depth. And here's my concern about this is that I think that Jared Goff is only as good as the team around him and very clearly struggles with pressure. And so if you have poor depth, meaning that the team gets worse that's around him, and it's on the, okay, Hatters is helping me out here. Hatters. If you have
squirrel,
if you have not a lot of depth, you've got people on redshirt years and you've got people who have injury histories who are hurt, then who is left to be your depth? So
I mean, you have to take those guys off of redshirt years.
Right. And yeah, I would imagine, you know, and so like Awasika has stuck on this team for years because he is the best of these guys. But like, I'm starting to wonder, Davenport, Mosley, Sorsdal, you know, are these guys long for the roster?
I mean, how many years did Davenport sign for? And if he's done for the year, I don't remember yet. 1 year. So
yeah, I mean, but they re-signed Mosley. I mean, like, here's my thing: is
we
like,
might get him cheap.
So I am to the point now where I'm done on the 1 year sign the guy cheap if he's coming off an injury prove it deal. I'm off prove it deals right now. Like I need to see someone. I need one of them to work out in order to like believe in this as an idea. If you do something long enough and it doesn't continue to work out, regardless of the situation, is it something that you should continue to do? Or have you just hit the worst side of your sample size? You know, so like you could argue, well, Davenport and Mosley, you didn't know that they were going to get hurt again. They could have worked out. They could have been great. You know, or if it's the third or fourth time that you sign a guy to a prove it deal, that is a dumb take. What's a dumb take? That I'm off the prove it deals? Not all 1 years. Sure, but name a 1 year deal that the Lions have handed out that hasn't been that, and then we can talk about it. So,
even Anzalone was basically a prove it, and he did, and then he re-signed him, right?
Into a 3 year deal, right? So then, like, so what? Jamal Williams, right? Maybe that one. How long did he play on the team?
He was with us for I think 2 years.
Was he on the team in the 3 and 13 year, and then in the okay? So let's say Jamal Williams, like, so you got Jamal Williams. You've missed on Mosley twice, and now you've missed on Davenport. You want to give it Anzalone? You want to say Anzalone worked out?
I would say so.
Okay.
I mean, we signed him to a 3 year deal, right?
So you hit on your first two. Williams is no longer on the team, right? You got nothing for him leaving. So you have one guy out of 5 that you signed to a deal, and he's still on the team. And the other 2 guys technically are still on the team, but they're both on injured reserve. So, I mean, in my opinion, you're 1 out of 5.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I'm sorry. That's like, if that's a roster building cornerstone for Brad Holmes, I'm just kind of off it. So, and it might, maybe
there is something to say about like, you
thing.
can't predict injuries, and it's only a miss because of an injury, but you know, those are kind of fluky and whatnot. So I think it's tough to call Davenport a miss in that regard, because I mean, so is Jameson Williams a miss because we didn't get the first 3 years out of him.
Well, this is his 3rd year, and they didn't
didn't get the first 2 years out of him.
Sure.
Right?
You know, and so like, I think the difference with Jameson is that like you're getting the cheapest years of his career, and you don't know what he'll be. Right. Yeah. And so like Brad Holmes has certainly indicated that he doesn't mind drafting or signing hurt players.
Right.
But like, you know, so like,
and maybe drafting is different than agency.
I feel that it is.
Yeah.
Brad is building talent. It's a process. The goal is fewer 1 year deals as the talent builds. So are we now down to 2 relatively cheap deals on this roster that you are fixating on? I mean, like, they don't do a ton in free agency out of re-signing their own guys, right? Like they tend to extend, right? And so like they've extended guys that they either traded for, like Jared Goff, who was, when you make that trade, is like pretty much a cornerstone, right? And because the deals that they passed on to get Jared Goff was they passed on the 8th pick in the draft and Teddy Bridgewater from Carolina. And they had a deal for Denver that was like a 1st round pick. And I cannot remember who the quarterback on Denver was. He's like Seattle's backup now, I think. I can't remember what the guy's name is. But like, I don't think that I need to fix. Mosley resigned for a couple million. Davenport was a miss and is one of the few we can claim as a bad swing. Well, I mean, like Mosley was. I mean, if the guy has not played a snap, man. I mean, like you're paying him however much money to not play for you. So I mean, like, I think he's probably just done. But like, whether or not they're hits or misses, like they signed him, they have roster spots, and now we have injuries. And who do you replace those guys with? That's my point.
Yeah.
So like,
Well, he's done most of his building through the draft, which is kind of what Brian is saying. Like,
sure.
we
So
haven't
like,
done big swings. Do we have anybody that we can really call a big swing? Like, we really went out and got a top end, like the best in their position group? Not really.
those guys don't make
They've
it.
been filler dudes, right? They've been the Angelonis of the world, and Mosley. I mean, Mosley was respected. He was good, but he wasn't Jalen Ramsey. He wasn't, one of those higher end dudes, right? So,
Well, those guys don't make it to free agency. So I mean, like, they're not
that's
available.
true. That's
So,
true.
like, but here's my point. Like, the Lions traded a future third and a future fourth round pick to bring in Vaki and to bring in Giovanni Manu. And now who's playing opposite of Aiden Hutchinson? Because if it's Pascal, which is my guess, like, I mean, is that good? I mean, like, he just has never demonstrated the ability to generate any kind of pass rush. Like, he's more of like a containment specialist.
Yeah, I'll be curious if Houston gets more snaps.
I mean, if
he just disappeared, right?
If he doesn't get them now, he's just never going to.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the deal with him is. Like, I've even tweeted at like Lions media, like reporters, like team beat writers. I'm like, what's the deal with James Houston? I mean, like, that's a long shot that they would even like respond. But like, I have read nothing. I have seen nothing. He's just, to me, like, the coaching staff just got to be just like unimpressed with him.
Yeah.
So,
or an attitude problem or something. I don't know. I'm not sure why. And if it was an attitude problem, why do you still have him on the roster, right? Because those are culture killers, and that's a big deal for what they're building. So I don't think it's probably that. It's probably his performance is just. I mean, to be honest, he didn't make our team the first year, right? He went to the practice squad. He came off the practice squad.
They cut him.
Yeah. And he came off the practice squad and just had like 7 really good games. But was that a fluke? Was that a just really being in the right spot at the right time against the right, offensive lines? Or is that his real potential is to have, I mean, he did what, 7 in like 8 games or something? So is he a 14 sack guy? Probably not. He probably overperformed. And they're probably seeing him drop back down to about what they expected, which was, that's why we put you on the practice squad, buddy. But I'd love to see if he gets an opportunity to play this Sunday. Actually, is it Monday? When are we playing Seattle? That's what I thought. Monday Night Football.
New black jerseys. Monday night, hosting Seattle.
Yeah.
But like, that's my problem, is like, now you're going to play one of the few unbeaten teams that have had your number for like this new regime. Like, the Seahawks have had the Lions number. Like, they are coming to your place to play on Monday Night Football. They're 3-0. Their quarterback's playing as well as almost any quarterback in the NFL right now. And, well, if he's too small to play edge, I don't know how he got the 7 sacks or 8 sacks when he was playing and healthy. I mean, like, I just don't know how he could do that. So I mean, like, and then the other problem is, like, what's the answer if he's not the answer? Like, are you going to play Pascal? Matthew Betts is playing Canadian football. You trade for Hassan Reddick?
That was literally the question I was going to ask you. Is this where we go out and try to trade for Hassan Reddick? Or maybe Brian Burns? I know he just re-signed, right? But like,
they traded him to the Giants. He's not going anywhere. They gave up way too much.
That's right.
But like, I hear what you're saying, like that methodology. But like, I mean, if I was Detroit, if you trade for Hassan Reddick, you have to give him a contract. Otherwise, he's proving he won't play for you unless he gets his contract, right? So you're locked in. Here's my thing: lock it in. I mean, like, I just don't fucking care. Yeah. Give him $20 million, $21 million a year, whatever it is.
What would you trade for him? What do you think would be like the most that you would give up to get him? In other words, the worst trade you would actually pull off, what would you give up?
Well, so I'll do what I think would do, and then what I would do is that I think that the Jets gave up a third, and if I would probably offer, if I was Brad Holmes, you're not going to get Crosby from Las Vegas. You could do it in Madden, but
it'd be different if Las Vegas was starting out 0-3.
I mean, they're not that far off, and like I think, aren't they 1-2?
I thought they were 2-1.
Are they?
Oh, they just lost, didn't they, to Carolina?
Yeah. So that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Danny about that.
Oh my God. Like Carolina didn't just beat them. They beat the shit out of them. Like Andy Dalton looked great.
So, oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, like if you're Bryce Young, you got to just hate the fact that Andy Dalton went out there and just proved
did everything you couldn't do.
Right. I mean, even if the Raiders are, let's say the Raiders think that like they're going to miss the playoffs. Well, sure. Like I agree. So like if they lose again, it's rebuild time in Vegas. So like, but what does that look like? I mean, if you want to rebuild, are you trading Max Crosby? Like I wouldn't. Like he's a cornerstone. One of the things that they are really good at in Vegas, regardless of anything else, is like their defensive line is completely legit. And like they re-signed Crosby to big money. They signed Christian Wilkins in free agency. Like it is very clear that, I mean, like even their first round bust that was like taken like 7th 2 years ago, like was it Tyree Wilson? Like he may eventually develop. I don't know, probably not. But like it's very clear that like that is a feature that they want, right? And so smart, like, but like if they're bad, I would just be like, well, great, we're going to get a top 3 quarterback in this class, and you know,
yeah,
we'll play good defense and run the ball while the kid develops.
So, quick aside on that whole thing, because hopefully Danny's listening,
Sure.
and if you are, awesome. But so I was explaining, because he's a big fantasy football guy and he talks a lot of shit, as you know, right?
Yeah.
And so I was explaining to him what survivor football leagues are. You know, you pick one game a week to win, you know, one team a week to win, and then whoever's left at the end, like as soon as you lose, you're out. Right. And like whoever, you know, is at the end wins. He's like, oh, that would be so easy. And I'm like, and so I told him this after week 2, right? So I'm like, yeah, but look at week 1. How many people, like something like 43% of survivor leagues went out on week 1 because Cincinnati got beat by New England. No, like you can just look at the Las Vegas odds and look at the biggest, you know, blowout odds and pick them, and you're still going to occasionally lose, right? So he's like, nah, he's talking all this shit. This week it's this week it's that. I'm like, okay, we're going to start a league right now. And so he's like, the easy thing is you just pick whoever's going against Carolina. I'm like, all right, let's start with week 3. So he takes Las Vegas, and they lose. And I talk so much shit. I took Cincinnati.
Oh, jeez.
So we're gonna start back over again this next week, because he's like, you nervous yet? I'm like, nah.
You both already lost.
Yeah. First week, and it was so easy to do. I'm like, dude, it's a lot harder. There's so many upsets that you just don't ever see coming, even with the big odd changes where you're like, this is the biggest, you know, odd swing. So so he talked a lot of crap, quickly got put in his place. I have not looked at this next week's games to see who I'm going to pick, but that's always a fun time. So anyways, take that, Danny. I picked before, so he's going to come with the excuses. I picked before Bryce got benched. That's true.
Sure.
But, you know, you could have changed your pick.
There was no,
as long as it's before game time.
Carolina Panthers had done that you could have been like, oh, if Bryce gets benched, they'll be really good.
Yeah. Oh, Andy Dalton's the answer. If let's be real, Danny. If you knew that Andy Dalton was going to be in there, you would have been like, "Oh, Vegas is screwed." Right? No, that you wouldn't have guessed that. So, anywho, I just thought that was pretty funny, and it is funny that he's listening to hear me talk shit about him talking shit.
So, to answer your question, I would offer the Jets a 4th round pick and just try and be like,
just
well,
a fourth.
I mean, what do you? I mean, he just got traded for just a third. I mean, like,
I feel like
you're
they
the
would
Jets
probably want to
thinking-
get at least a third back.
I mean, but when does that happen? Like, he has no value. Like, they have no
Yeah.
leverage. So, like, I would be like, I'll give you most of what you lost to get him and take him off your hands. And you can just get rid of this headache and just be like, okay, well, we'll move on. And that's where I would start. And, you know, and if they were just like, okay, 3rd and a 7th, I'd be happy to throw. We have 2 7th-round picks this year. I'm happy to throw that shit in. That's nothing. But like, but I would be like, if they play hardball, I'd be like, I'll give you a 3rd. That's fine. If you're going to trade a 3rd-round pick so you can take a 6'8" developmental tackle from Vancouver, British Columbia, then you can trade a 3rd-round pick for Hassan Reddick. I don't care. So
Yeah,
at edge.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would love to see that.
I don't care that he's small. Because you have DJ Reader's going to play 25 to 30 snaps, and then you're gonna rotate your packages for the defensive line depending on what you see, and then you have McNeil, who's in my opinion done nothing this year so far. He's your 3 tech,
Been hurt,
and then
right?
he's played. So I mean, like, if you're in the game and playing, I still expect you to not be completely absent from the game. So
he only had 16 snaps this week.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously there's something that.
Yeah. And he's on the injury report. He's day to day. So I'm guessing that happened during, mid game or maybe even early game.
Sure. I mean, I still want him to be better.
Yes.
Yeah. I would love it if Crosby was on this team, but he's.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine?
Yeah. I mean, like, but that's just it. Like getting Max Crosby. And this is the point that I think that nope, not that one. This one. This is the point that I think needs to be highlighted is that you have 2 solid players in the middle, right? And Aiden Hutchinson is right now rated the best pass rusher in the NFL. Will that carry through to the end of the season? I would bet against not, but like right now he's lights out. And like you need a running buddy for him. Someone who can be like, Aiden's going to do Aiden's thing. I don't need to be another Aiden Hutchinson. I just need to go and get him. Well,
how about Hendrickson? Any Jags?
In a couple of weeks? Oh, well, they just signed Hines Allen to an extension. Trayvon Walker is still on his rookie deal.
Number 1 overall pick, Trayvon Walker.
It's just ridiculous. By the way, they're 0-3, and like I think the problem is in the GM's office. Oh, they have Eric. So their defensive line is Trayvon Walker, Josh Hines Allen, Eric Armstead, and some guy that I've never heard of called Roy Robertson Harris. So who's been in the NFL since 2017. So clearly he's a
journeyman.
He's a player. He's not. Like Hines Allen's great. He's rated 6th in the edge group. It just seems like a line that would be better than what it is. How long ago to tinker with injury-prone players? Trey Hendrickson, the Bengals are 0-3. Yeah, no kidding. God bless the Jags with Trayvon Walker. That's super apt. So, I think that they need, whether on the roster, whether not on the roster, I think they need to find somebody who's, I don't even need them to be great, just competent. A competent pass rusher across from Hutchinson. Because, the first week, Davenport looked like he could do that. He
played
was
well.
Good in
really well.
And then he got hurt, and so I'm really bummed out because I thought that they found the guy, they found, whether just for this year or who knows how long, they found someone that can just do Aiden's they're not gonna run to Aiden's side, they're not gonna put the play to Aiden's
double
side.
And triple, yeah.
They're gonna put another dude over there to chip or double team Aiden. That's just going to happen. So, like, can we find a guy that can handle one-on-ones and, like, clean up plays? You know, and the answer's been we haven't ever, you know, since 2000. I mean, this is the third season, you know, that we've had, you know, that issue, and like, I'm ready for that issue to be solved. So, because Aiden can't do it all by himself, like that's been proven so far.
So
well,
let's
Dr. Detroit. I mean, that's we were just talking. That's how we kind of got here.
Yeah,
because I kind of ranted about the prove it deals. You and Brian should have that conversation. So,
well, let's talk a little bit about the game and some of the stuff that happened in it.
Sure.
So first, we're gonna start with the NFL's first running back duo since 2006 to each produce 70-plus scrimmage yards in each of the first 3 games of the season. Back in 2006, it was Reggie Bush and Deuce McAllister. So Monty and Gibbs played really, really well this week again. And they actually stuck to it. Like, they actually pounded that rock right down their throat. You know, I thought Goff played pretty well. Like, I'm watching the game, right? And the first half, he was perfect. He threw 0 incompletions. He was 12 for 12. And then I'm like, wow, that's awesome, 100%. And I'm like, he only threw 12 passes in the entire half? Last week he threw 55 fucking passes, and he's on pace for 24 for the game. And the reality was, we didn't need to have him throw the ball. You know, Monty and Gibbs just tore it up right down the field. So I thought it was pretty great to see.
Oh God.
Like, did he freak off? So let's take a look at our grades.
Hashtag not touching that one.
So our grades.
I want to say something about the running back.
Yeah.
Is it just me? Because I think it's just me. But like, I feel like this offense is a completely different functioning offense with David Montgomery's in the game. Like, the play where he gets picked up and pushed over the line. Okay, that's one thing. That was
great to watch, though.
Yeah, it was fun. He said he was laughing the whole time while he was being picked up.
Sure.
Yeah.
They were probably tickling him.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm sure they were tickling him. But like, every time that he touches the ball, he falls forward.
Yeah.
You know? And like, I think Goff is just so much happier in like the 2nd and 6, 3rd and 3, like, world.
Yeah.
And like, I am not criticizing Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not criticizing Jahmyr Gibbs because Jahmyr Gibbs has been great. But he is not the kind of guy that falls forward. He'll lay a hit on you. Like, he's not afraid to run into the middle some dude's chest. You know, and like, I respect that about him. But there are plenty of times when a linebacker hits him and he stops. You know, and like, and to me, I don't know what the answer is, because he's the kind of guy that you want out there for the hook and ladder, you know, that kind of stuff. And like,
right,
he's a great wide receiver, and he has the ability to break a tackle or make a dude miss, and then he might just take it to the house, right? And he has more explosive runs than David Montgomery, and the graphic that you showed a minute ago is absolutely true. And yet I still think that David Montgomery is not getting enough carries. Because
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that is, I think his attitude is just, he is a baller. Like, he's all dog. Like, he will run through you. He is that gritty, grindy, run it down your throat guy. Whereas Jahmyr Gibbs is a little bit more Barry Sanders, right? A little bit more jukey and flashy. And I think that bringing that dog out in Montgomery, I think that pumps up the line. And I think they just want to just push people around when he's out there. And I think it's a different mentality when Montgomery's out there than when Gibbs is out there. And I did like, Hatters, he runs angry. I definitely feel that. Like, when he's out there, he looks like he's angry. Like somebody did something bad to his children or something. I don't know. But like, he goes out there with a vengeance. And not that Gibbs doesn't, but it definitely has a different feel to it and a different look to it. So I'm sure the rest of the team picks up on that. Like, how can they not?
This is just my bias, my own personal bias. I love watching him run the football. It is my preferred. If I had to choose the style of running back to watch, it's David Montgomery. So I mean, I'm sure that
It reminds me of Adrian Peterson. Like big, angry, but
Adrian
like also
Peterson.
hard to get down. I mean, granted, Adrian Peterson is going to be in the Hall of Fame, and I don't think Montgomery is, but like they have very similar running styles. They're both quick, they're both big, they're hard to get down, and they run angry. Peterson is just one of the best to ever do it in that way. But Monty's been really strong for us.
All right, man.
And you to bring up the hook and ladder, that was awesome. I do love those kinds of plays. Okay, and this is a legit question. Does that go down as a? It's going to go down as a passing touchdown for Goff, right? And I think St. Brown caught it and then dished it off to Gibbs. What does that? Does that go down as a running touchdown for Gibbs or a receiving touchdown, even though he didn't catch the ball? I've literally never looked at the stat sheet after that kind of thing. So
Jared Goff gets the completion, the yards, the touchdown. St. Brown gets the catch, no yards, no touchdown. And Gibbs gets the yards and the touchdown and no catch.
So St. Brown doesn't even get the yards that he got when he caught the ball?
I know that Gibbs got like 20 yards. So St. Brown might have the yards from where he caught it, but
Yeah.
Gibbs has the rest of the yards.
Yeah. Gibbs has no catch, but all yak. I love it. So I loved watching that. I wish we would do more of those kinds of things.
We are so different.
I find those fun, and I find them they're surprising enough where they generally work unless you screw it up yourselves. Like it's usually not the defense that is stopping those kinds of plays. It is, I dropped the pass that I was supposed to catch and dish off, or there's a holding call or some shit like that. So I like those. I like flea flickers a lot. They happen very infrequently, but when they do, they're exciting. And assuming the running back or whoever can throw the ball okay, they generally work out. So I think that's there's a time and a place, right? If you're up by 4 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, don't do a flea flicker because you don't want to take the chance of an interception or whatever. But like I love those kinds of plays. So but I mean, looking at our offense, they showed up this week after kind of being
I'm going to push back
disappointing the first 2 weeks.
They showed up, in the first half.
In the first half. Yeah, that's fair.
And I'm worried because dating back to the NFC Championship game, we have these stretches that last about 2 quarters where the team just stops. Like they just stop functioning. Like it's like we don't get into field goal range, you don't score touchdowns, you don't move the ball the way that it's like
you get pressure to make a stupid interception.
Oh God.
Oh, that was infuriating again to watch that.
He
generally played okay, right? But that was a terrible play, a bad decision, bad throw. But most of the rest of the game, he was okay.
They are going to have to find a way to not take off huge chunks of. You cannot win many football games playing one good half of football. So this is the key thing that I want to see addressed is okay, there's gonna be punch, counter punch from both teams, based upon what the other team's doing, right? So like where is the counter punch from the Lions offense? Like, thank God the defense was there and stopped the Cardinals. But like the offense needs to be more consistent throughout the course of the game, because you cannot rely on, we'll score 3 touchdowns in the first half or the second half, and we just know that we're going to do that. And so we just need to hold them to under 21 points for the whole game. Like that just, you can't ask one side of the football to play the entire game and the offense just only play half of it. So they got the win. I'm super happy that they got the win, but like I'm also like very like about this.
I mean, any real Lions fan, if they're going to be honest, they were a little nervous in the last 6 minutes of that game. Like, is it going to happen again? And I love the fact that it didn't, right? That the same old Lions would have found a way to lose it. We were able to hang on. We played gritty. We did what we needed to do, especially on defense. Our defense came up huge. And Brian agrees with you. We can't expect to keep winning that way. But I loved watching our defense. So the Arizona Cardinals were the second highest scoring team in the end. I mean, granted, it's only been 2 weeks, but they averaged 34.5 points per game the first 2 weeks. Kyler looked great in week 2. Marvin Harrison Jr. looked great in week 2. I don't think Kyler knew that he was on the team in week 1, but week 2, he was there and it was electric. And I was just like, oh shit. And I thought Kyler played pretty well this week. He beat us with his legs a lot. His connection with Harrison Jr. was really good. Like, all that said, we still held them to 16 points. 16? 13?
13.
Okay. I was like, as soon as I said that, I'm like, I got the ticker wrong. I'll fix that. But yeah, so we held them to 13 points. A team that just got done scoring 34.5 each of the last 2 games. So I thought they played really well, especially along the defensive line. Hutch was amazing again. Luke, the guy that the Cardinals fan that did our draft with us. He shot me an email today, and he's like, I have not seen a team shut down our run game that well in a long time. You guys killed it. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. We did. We shut that down pretty strong. So any of these grades stick out to you?
Jalen Reeves-Maybin was kind of a surprise, to be honest. Like, he's not typically down there.
Yeah.
Pascal's not encouraging. So here's the thing about Terry and Arnold. Like, he has a poor grade. And I think it's almost all from tackling. Now, his coverage has not been great. Here's his, in my opinion, here is his biggest problem. He hasn't learned to turn his head yet.
A little grabby.
When he learns to turn his head, he won't grab. So like,
it's true.
If he turns his head, the pass interference calls goes down. He'll be able to locate the ball better. I don't know how you locate the ball when your head's only turned one way. Like his timing on some of this stuff hasn't shown up yet. And like when it's college, you can just get away with that shit because you're super athletic, Yeah. So I think, but I have liked what I've seen from him. He is taking the number one option most of the time on the other team as a rookie. So like, I think this year's going to be rough for him. Like, he's got a hamstring, he's got a finger issue, he was sick this week leading up to the game and played like this, but like, I still think like come game 1 next season, I think this guy's going to look great, with a full
he'll get better as the season goes too, right? He's not like going to be this ineffective the entire season.
Right. I think, and like overall, I think that the cornerbacks on this team are better. Carlton Davis is a veteran. Amik Robertson is a veteran and playing pretty well, like playing like a starter. And I think that the problem, I think one of the reasons why Rakestraw was out for this game, one of the reasons we just didn't see Robertson as much as I think that I would like to see him on the field is that their commitment to shutting down the running game means that they're playing a real 4-3. So like there were plenty of snaps where it was Rodrigo and Campbell and Derek Barnes, who's unfortunately out for a significant amount of time, and probably gonna have a stint on IR or what have you. But like that's a bummer, So like you've got Ben Nyman here with seven snaps, and he is the like fifth linebacker, sixth linebacker. Like Reeves Maben is on the field for 27 snaps. Like those are your fifth and sixth guys, or fifth and sixth guys. So, well, Anzalone wasn't playing, so I guess technically, I mean, if everybody was healthy, they'd be the fifth and sixth guys.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes. How many rush yards do you think James Conner ended up with?
I'll say 31.
17.
Yeah.
We kept him to 17 yards. Kyler Murray had 5 rushes for 45. Trey Benson had 2 for 8, and Emerald DeMarcado had 2 for 7. So like outside of and really Kyler's, he had one really big run that was probably 20 something yards. That was a good chunk of that 45. But like, and we always struggle with the running quarterbacks, and that happened early. And I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be another one of those games where that running quarterback is going to eat us up. We'll play good in the secondary, and everybody's going to be like, not paying attention to the quarterback, and he's gonna do that. But I thought we held him relatively well overall. But to stop a guy like James Conner that they relied on the first two games to just 17 yards, and to your point with Terry and Arnold, Marvin Harrison Jr. only had 64 yards. He had a touchdown. He kept him to 64 yards. That's not bad for a rookie versus someone as good as, I mean, they're both obviously first round talent, but I thought 52.4, I think is probably his grade, but I thought his value to the team was a little bit higher than that.
So like PFF now, they have a new lineup of, I call them broadcasters, media talent.
Yeah.
And one of the shows they do, which I believe was on today, is called Explain the Grade.
Oh, nice.
And I think that I'm going to be like, can you explain why Terry and Arnold is getting these grades? Is it just because like there's a couple of plays a game where he doesn't get his head around and he creates a penalty because of it? Like it's a massive loss, like he got, like, was it week 2? He got a penalty in the end zone that sent him up first and goal.
2, I think.
Yeah, and like that's a real, obviously that's a real problem. But like, when you're going against Cooper Kupp, was Puka was in the game for the first half, right? Week 1?
Yes.
And then
he was in there for the whole game.
Yeah. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans in week 2, and then you get Marvin Harrison. He's a rookie, but like he's a good rookie, right? Supposedly. In week 3, like he has not had a week where he was just like, I can dial it back to 9 and just try and put some of this shit into play that they want me to do, like, and he's not going to get the opportunity next week either, because you got DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and JSN all ready to go, at 3-0, leading the division, not looking to lose not looking to get their first loss. So there's been no grace period for him. It is little tiny baby into the deep end of the
by
pool.
fire, baby.
Yeah, learn to swim. So so it won't be as bad for him at some point in this year. I just don't know when that's going to be.
On the offensive side of the ball, what grade surprises you on this?
Goff.
Did you think he was going to be higher or lower?
Lower.
I did too. I thought he was going to be mid to upper 60s, because there were a few times that, especially in that second half, again, he was 12 for 12 in the first half, but the interception was just horrendous. And B, I thought he was off. He just looked off in the second half. His stats ended up being okay, but I was expecting mid to upper 60s, not 70s.
Can you scroll down just a little bit? Mark G. Hey, Mark.
What's up, Mark?
Okay, so that is about Monday night is a big game right before that.
Yep. 3-1 is much better than 2-2.
The Vikings are playing
that's crazy
football right now. Like
the fact that he wrote that sentence and it wasn't trolling us, right? Is like, where the hell did that come from?
I have watched clips of Sam Darnold throwing the ball. Sam Darnold right now could throw a football and knock the wings off of a fly. he thinks about where he wants the ball to go, and it just goes there. It is so gorgeous the way that he is throwing the football right now, that, and like they're doing everything.
Tight spirals and everything.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Oh wow. Wish we had
It's
that.
real nice. So like, and like, let's just do like a little round table right now in the NFC North. Like, the Packers lose Jordan Love, and the guy they traded a 7th round pick for, who's done nothing in the NFL, comes in and they just change their whole offense to suit what that guy does, and he gets 2 wins out of them. Like, no one thought that Malik Willis was going to win 2 games for the Packers.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Green Bay. That is inspired coaching.
Detroit fan man. Yeah, Goff's first incompletion wasn't until the 3rd quarter. That has to help inflate a score. Yeah, probably.
It's weird how he doesn't get an incompletion until the 3rd quarter, and then we don't score anymore.
Yeah. I mean, he was 12 for 12 in the first half. Looked good. And I don't want to take anything away from it. I'm not saying this to take anything away from Goff. The first half, if you look back at those 12 throws, none of them were particularly hard. None of them were tight windows. A couple of them that were downfield were 20 yards downfield, but there was nobody within 6 yards of our guy. Like, we schemed our dudes open and they caught the balls, and that's exactly what we're supposed to be doing. And I know that sounds like I'm like just demeaning or trivializing Goff's 12 for 12, and it's not meant for that. It's really more of a testament to Ben Johnson and what he's been able to do to scheme our dudes open and our guys executing. And I don't think we executed with the same efficiency and the same level during the second half. And that when he has to start fitting things into tighter windows, ball placement has never been a thing that he excels at. That's never been a thing that he's elite at, that he excels at. So when the rest of the team doesn't have that, gap between the receiver and the defensive player, it's a little bit harder. But I loved the first half. I loved the final score at the end. The second half was I thought we played okay, but it was I didn't like being nervous about, like, are they going to continue to come back? And thankfully our defense held them up.
Yeah. My thoughts on this game were basically boiled down to, they did the best job against Kyler Murray that a team has done thus far this season. And like, it dropped his overall grade, like 9 points on the season. Like, he was the number 1 rated quarterback in the NFL. I believe he's 3rd now. And like, if you just look at the Cardinals, like, there's not a ton of green, like Greg Dortch, their slot receiver, was hurt, but like Trey McBride, their tight end, who's kind of a breakout player, I thought would make a bigger impact in this game, especially with Anzalone not playing. Yeah. I just thought that the whole thing was, so I don't remember who said it might have been Brian, but I don't remember who said last week that Buda Baker was the Cardinals' best defensive player. You're right.
It probably was me, because I watched him tear up.
It was somebody
the
in
Rams.
The chat,
oh, was it? Okay. I probably agreed with them then.
You can share the opinion.
Yeah. He tore up the Rams in week 2. Like, he dominated that side of the field. It was pretty great to watch. For someone that likes watching that kind of stuff. I was rooting for the Rams, but it was fun for them it was fun to watch someone play well.
I just I think that the issue here that I'm seeing is that the stars, quote unquote, Kenny 49ers. Yeah, all are almost as bad. You guys got bit by a bug at the start of the season here, so that sucks.
Yeah. The Rams have like 11 guys out. The Niners have,
it's close.
They've got to be close to that. That NFC West is hurting right now.
Too bad the Seahawks don't have anybody that's hurt. I guess Kenneth Walker may not play this next week, which would be a big deal for us. But yeah, I just think that, like, when you're a star, it's hard to take away the fact that you're a star. Yeah, Julian Okwara is on the Cardinals and plays significant snaps. Like, sorry, it's time for my stretches. But like, when your stars are stars, they're going to shine out regardless. And I think that Zaven Collins and Budda Baker, who are, hey man, thanks, appreciate that, Kenny. We love having you, dude. Yeah, stop by with your like 49ers takes too, because we're always going to want those. We got plenty of fans from other teams that
we do
stop by and make, like, we got an Arizona Cardinals guy and we got a Philadelphia Eagles guy. Who am I forgetting?
We got a Niners guy now.
Niners guy. We're collecting divisions, right? We want the whole thing.
Yep.
So that's cool, man. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you like the show.
Yeah.
But like, I think where Detroit hurt the Cardinals was that if you aren't an elite talent like a Budda Baker or a Zaven Collins, like, they made you work for it. And like, I think in the NFL, in basketball it's different, but in the NFL, you can't win with just one star.
Yeah.
Or just two guys. Like, you need a team effort, and Detroit took away the team and let the stars be the stars, and they won.
Yeah. I will say, I'm going to take a quick peek here at by position. Let's scroll down to edge rushers.
Oh,
and I want to do a little bit of Aiden Hutchinson bragging time.
I'm not going to stop you.
All right. Are you ready for this?
Go right ahead.
Top-rated defensive overall grade.
Yeah.
Number 2 pass rush grade, just a touch behind Myles Garrett.
I'm going to interrupt. Did you see Myles Garrett absolutely humiliate Andrew Thomas this week?
I did not.
If you do anything, go and watch the highlights or queue up the game. Browns, Giants. I know it sounds like an absolute snore fest, but like, watching Myles Garrett put Andrew Thomas has been one of the best left tackles in football for like the last 2 or 3 years, and Myles Garrett made him look like a rookie. It was great. If you like watching defensive linemen, it was great.
I do enjoy that.
You know what, Kenny? The Lions actually have repaired their relationship with Barry quite a bit, and he's at a lot of team functions, and he's in a lot more like Lions-centered media now. So like, I think to the extent that you can have someone who's, I don't believe that he's officially hired by the organization.
I think he is. As a, I forget what they call it, but essentially like a PR consultant. Yeah, exactly.
Like, just be in the building, we love you kind of a scenario.
Yeah. And they're doing the same with Calvin Johnson now.
Yeah.
It's not as heavy, and I don't know if it's because his salary while he was there was so much higher and he may not need it as much, but like they're repairing it with Calvin as well, which because that didn't end well either. But yeah. All right, so Hutch, number 1 overall, number 2 pass rush, number 1 in total pressures, like by about 40% more than number 2 Micah Parsons. Number 1 in sacks. He's got more sacks than some teams do as a team. Number 2, tied for number 1 in hits. Tied for number 2 in hurries. Like, he is way top at the on the defense side here, and I love to see that, especially since one of my bold bets early on was Aiden Hutchinson was going to win Defensive Player of the Year. So if he keeps this shit up, how could you not, right? Like, if you had to pick it after game 3, is there anybody playing better than Hutch right now?
Not on the D line. I mean, so like, I think that if you were going to talk about D linemen, you got to talk about Dexter Lawrence. Yeah, you got to talk about Dexter Lawrence from the Giants.
So like, all defensive grades. I always filter to a minimum of snaps so we don't get the couple outliers. I had 3 snaps.
That seems right.
So Fred Warner's at a 94.4. His coverage grade is great.
Well, that's his thing. Like, he's effectively a cornerback in a linebacker's body. I mean, he's amazing at it. Like, it's the reason that he's the number 1 rated linebacker in the NFL.
Like, so I think look, total number of snaps. Well, a lot of these are corners and linebackers, but like if you look at the edge rushers, clear edge, bam. He's played the second most number of snaps among the edge rushers as well. So he's killing it. I love this is Aiden Hutchinson appreciation time. So looking forward to doing this in a few more weeks and seeing if him's still at the top. Hopefully,
it's been the thing about watching the Lions this year that I've enjoyed the most. Like David Montgomery running the ball, Aiden Hutchinson absolutely fucking crushing people, and like. Let's be honest and let's be fair here. He has played against no one of note. He has played against the backups of backups. And next week against the Seahawks, if he's going to line up across from what is this guy's name? Charles Cross, I think his name is. Charles Cross is currently the number 1 rated tackle in the NFL. So I would be playing Aiden on the other side of that, and then feeding whomever plays across from Aiden to Charles Cross, but like the Lions do this thing where they leave Aiden on an island because they're just asking him to rush the passer, and they take their D line and they move them over like a half of a gap. And then it's like you have to either dedicate 1.5 players, like a tight end on a chip, a running back on a chip, to Aiden, and then like your guard has to like move down, so there's a huge gap between the edge and like effectively the B gap. You can send a linebacker like Campbell through there or what have you on a delayed blitz, but like the other side of the line, you're having 3 defensive player eat up 4 offensive linemen, and then you're getting 1.5 people on the other side. So you're having 4 players take up 5.5, 6 players, however you want to look at it, on their offensive line. Like you're getting 2 defensive players back. And that is because of Aiden Hutchinson. So like the defense has been, you cannot look at this team this year and say the defense cost us, we should have done, it's the defense's fault that, not this year. The defense has been the most consistently good thing about this team so far. So, is it Ukwu? How do you say that? Ukwu?
I think it's Ukwu.
He played real well in the preseason, and I know it's the preseason, but if you play that well in the preseason, I feel like you should get some snaps. I mean, like if they elevated him. Because I think he's on the practice squad, right, Brian? Like, I think if they elevated him this week and was like, hey, we're going to give you 20 snaps. Go get him, Tiger. I'm going to be like, fine with me. That dude was great.
Right.
Let's see if there's something there, So go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just saying, yeah, you're right.
Oh, I love hearing that. But like, either continue to say it or move on to the next point. I mean, oh, hey, Zakwa.
Hey, Zakwa. Yeah, it's been a while. So this is, looking at the game against Monday Night Football against Seattle. Just looking at the team metrics overall, we are 6th, they're 11th. They've actually got a pretty damn good defense. So they're 3rd, we're 7th, which surprises me actually that we're that low. I figured we would be a little bit higher, but we did kind of struggle a little bit in some areas, especially in the secondary in their first 2 games. Their offense is 4th, which shocked me. I figured they would be 3rd in their division. And they, much like Minnesota, said, we don't care what anybody thinks. We're just going to go out there and win. Trying to think of some of the other interesting things. Grade-wise, Geno Smith is playing really well. Goff has not. Last game, he played much better, so hopefully we can keep trending in the right direction there. They've got 3 guys injured that are impact players. And then we click over to us, and we're like, holy shit, that's a lot of green. We got 4 guys graded 70 or above that is questionable or on IR. And honestly, I thought Davenport played. I thought he he seemed like he played better than a 53, but maybe he didn't. But even his 53 maybe just gave Hutch enough time or something. I'm not sure, but this is less than ideal for us.
I am betting Anzalone and McNeil play in this game. Barnes will not play in this game. He's on IR. So that sucks. But like, they do get one more day of rest than they would typically otherwise get. It is at home. You know, like, here's my thing is like, I don't think that Kenneth Walker is playing in this game for the Seahawks. So, here's what I would do, and it's the same goddamn thing that I've been saying this whole time. Like, the Lions are going to try and take away the run. Like, the Seahawks still have a good running back in Zach Charbonnet. So, like, I would try and take away the run, make them one-dimensional. You know, I would play Aiden across from Charles Cross, so he'd be lined up against Stone Forsythe, their right tackle. And I would just turn him loose trying to get to Geno Smith to just do anything to disrupt Geno Smith. So someone a couple of weeks ago asked, like, what's the difference between a pressure and a sack? I want Aiden to have, I mean, I would love it if he got like 3 sacks this game, but like, I would rather that he have 10 pressures, because I think that like just keeping Geno off of his, like, this is my platform. These are the things I want to do. Like, if you can make him change the launch point, move out of the pocket, do anything other than what he thought he was going to do that play, like, just to get him out of rhythm will be helpful. Yep. Because I think that the Seahawks are going to have to be one-dimensional in the passing game to beat the Lions. Like, I think that's the thing the Lions are going to make them be.
Yeah.
And then on the opposite side of it, like, Seattle has the best secondary in the NFL, 4 or 5 guys deep. So like, they're great. They're great secondary. So like, to me, this is going to be like, you got to send JMO deep to get the middle stuff worked out, and you have to attack their linebackers. So I want to see what the Lions did last year in this game, which is Sam Laporta, who I know has an ankle injury, who's probably going to play, and I want Amon-Ra St. Brown to eat over the middle of the field, and then the Lions are going to have to run the ball well. But like, the Seahawks defense is good.
Yeah.
You know, and like, who was it made a point in this? Was it Zakwa? They played Bo Nix, Jacoby Brissett, and Skylar Thompson. That is not the 27 Yankees, right? Like,
right.
So, I mean, Jared Goff is by no stretch of the imagination the best quarterback that they will have played thus far this season. But like, this is a very tough team who has a lot to play for and can put an early stamp on their division this week. Like, going to 4-0 will probably put you up close to 2 games in the division, you know? And so like, there's a lot for Seattle to play for here, and they've played well against the Lions.
We have the benefit of being at home, which is nice. And if we look at like where we struggle, where they struggle, where we're gonna have to go after them, the good news is for us, their pass blocking is the worst thing that they do on the entire thing. And the good news for us is pass rushing is the best thing that we do on our entire team right now. So, Drew, to your point, I think we have to put those two together and get him off of his game and make sure that we get to him. And actually, I don't know if you were asking the question legitimately or whatnot, but a pressure is a hurry, a hit, or a sack. So that's what a pressure is compared to the others. So sacks are part of pressures, but so are hurries and hits. Those are the things that we care about: hurries, hits, and sacks. Even if you don't get a sack and you have to make him hurry, to change his throw it before the receiver's ready, dump it out of bounds because the play hasn't developed enough. Those are all things that get them on to the next down with no gain, right? So,
Yes.
or little gain unless they happen to pull off the play or whatever. But like those are the things that we have to do. And for us, the worst thing that we do graded right now, and it's by a ways, is our pass game. It was way worse than that going into this past week. But it's come up a bit. We need to keep getting on that roll, keep scheming our guys open and having Goff hit those dudes, hit them in stride, get some run after the catch, and just eat them up slowly but surely. We are a West Coast offense type of team with that 4 to 14 yard is our sweet spot, and we need to keep doing that. But they've got such good linebackers and such good guys over the middle. We have to stretch the field a few times to keep them honest. Or we just run down their fucking throat. But like they're really good. They're the 6th best run run defense. Where were they? Am I completely missing them? Yeah, they're the 8th. I knew they were top 10. They're the 8th best run defense in the league. So I think we need to make like Monty and Gibbs have to be effective because that'll open up Goff's game as well.
So Brian, yeah, the play can still be successful. Like it's not
the odds go down though, right? It makes it harder.
Correct. Anytime that a quarterback is hit, hurried, or sacked, the play by definition becomes more difficult, right? So like I'll just use the most recent example of a game that I watched. I understand, Brian. Don't worry. You're fine. Michigan played USC. I'm a Michigan fan. I'm just going to talk about this for a real quick second. Michigan played USC. I didn't think they were going to beat USC. And the thing that I think won them that game was that Michigan's D-line hit USC's quarterback all game long. So like, and eventually it got to the point where the kid just was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, can you fucking block for me? Can you, and it like gets to you, like they hit him 10 times, like over the course of like the game, and it takes a toll. So if you can like hear the horses coming at you or whatever, and like you're seeing ghosts, like that's the mind state that you want an opposing quarterback in. You want him to not be thinking about what he's trying to do 100% of the time, right? So however many times he has to pick himself off the ground or try and move up in the pocket or see a defender he knows he's going to get hit and he has to throw the ball. Like we go back to the Tampa Bay game, Goff launches one over the middle of the field and there's a dude in his chest while he's trying to throw the ball, and it led to an interception. Like, you can make positive things happen. I mean, the NFL has moved towards quarterbacks that can evade that kind of pressure and still make good things happen. That's been the modern NFL quarterback. But like, you still have to, it's the most important position on the field, no matter what. You have to mess with it. You can't just, if Geno Smith is allowed to sit back there unmolested effectively and like run the Seattle offense, I think that Seattle has a really great chance to win this game. And if you knock him down and force him to do stuff that he doesn't want to do, the percentages change. And so Hutch getting in his face, pestering him, being a nuisance, it's just got to happen, and like someday he'll knock the ball out and the Lions will recover it, and then we'll get a turnover. I mean, like if you don't have a pass rush, you never get the opportunity to create a turnover, like a fumble, like, right. You have to rely. I mean, it's one area you need to have available to you to like turnovers cannot just be generated. There's no formula for generating turnovers, but like getting around the ball, being mischievous around the ball is a necessity of that. So like, and I just don't think that you're going to hold down Tyler Lockett, DJ Metcalf, Jackson Smith, and Jigba the whole game. Like they're going to get, I think like the Tampa Bay kind of thing where it's like, they're going to, okay, here's a 7-yard pass, miscommunication, 40-yard touchdown, that kind of stuff. So like the more mobile a QB, the less valuable pressure is versus, well, I mean, that's the thinking, right? You've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
I think Darnold can get. So like, but just because they have it doesn't mean that they can't stop trying, right? I think that's where I'm coming from is that if Hutch is having this great year and he's able to go out and nullify one of the better things that the Seahawks has been able to do this year, which is pass protect, at least on the left tackle. If he gets 10 reps against Charles Cross and wins 4 or 5 of them, that's a win for the Lions. And so like anything, I mean, if he has to have Gino throw the ball a heartbeat quicker than he wants to, that's a win because it may not be as accurate, and like we just need, that was an incompletion on 3rd and short, or he gave the defenders enough time to be in the right spot, like that kind of stuff. Like they just have to play better football, and this is a big part of it. And I don't know that they can win if they don't have it, to be honest. So, I mean, the defense has to continue to hold opposing offenses to like 20 points or less. Otherwise, I just don't think that you can win in the NFL. Yeah, another stat for us, Michael.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. This is more of a, Ben Raven. The shout out to Jack Fox, who helped the Lions survive that scoreless second half and gave the defense a boost. He punted 5 times, pinning 4 inside the 20 with 1 touchback. And inside the 20 were 2, 12, 9, and 7-yard lines. Those are that's why you paid this guy, right? And I loved the fact that we used him. I mean, it sucks that we had to use him, but I'm glad we didn't have to go for it on 4th down all the time. And I don't know if it's because we were more than 4th and 1 enough, or if we were deep enough that it wasn't worth the risk. But this is the kind of play that we need to do. We need to flip the field when we're being ineffective offensively. Having a guy like this that can flip the field and having a defense that's going to come up and make those stops is huge. I think we would be far less likely to have won that game if we weren't doing what he did there. And then, obviously our defense having to pick up and keep going. So
wow.
Big shout out to Jack Fox.
Yeah. If you're gonna give a guy some money, like he's the top guy at his position, which the Lions did, it has since been surpassed. Then this is him earning that money.
Yeah.
Like if you pin a team inside the 10 3 times in a game, congrats. Like you are winning the field position battle. Like the field position battle has become, I think, more important now in the NFL. Like if you call a fair catch, not a fair catch, a touchback, it comes out to the 30.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, it was at the 20. So you're getting 10 yards when you otherwise wouldn't have gotten it before. So to effectively pin them 20 yards deeper than like the average starting position in the NFL, or close to the average starting position in the NFL, is significant. And like, to be honest, if they're starting at the 35, like there's a lot more drives, they're kicking field goals. And like, I just don't know how much, if you're not going to score any points for 2 quarters, I mean, you can't afford to give up many points. So good job, Jack Fox.
Yes. That was a big deal. So anyway, I wanted to throw that one out there too. I wanted to give Jack Fox some love.
Jake Bates missed an extra point this week.
He did. That was a bummer.
I'm just going to say, yeah, it is a bummer. I didn't like it at all. But like, I'm just going to say that thus far through the season, he's no better than Badgley.
Yeah, we haven't yet used him as much.
Well, I mean, like they didn't have Badgley kicked like what, 14 field goals last year?
Yeah, not a lot.
I will say one more thing about David Montgomery. He's on pace for 17 touchdowns.
Who?
David Montgomery.
Oh, yeah.
He has scored a touchdown in every game this year, the year so far. Like, I would. I will
see if I can find it. I found an interesting stat about Montgomery since he came with the Lions. I believe he has more games with a rushing touchdown than any other running back in the league.
I wouldn't.
Since he came to the Detroit,
Yeah.
2 years ago or whatever.
2 years.
Yeah. I can't find it, of course, because I'm looking for it actively. But yeah, so and there was something else. I think it was around. I want to say it was around the missed tackles, which is he's pretty famous for like being like really really good at the missed tackles or forced missed tackles.
Did you see Joe Burrow's outfit when he walked in to Monday Night Football last night?
I did not.
If you get a chance, like go online and see him like walking in for Monday Night Football, because this was the tag that I saw. Ellen DeGeneres and the Cincinnati Bengals getting ready for Monday Night Football. It was so funny. Okay, let me talk. I want to complain a little bit before we wrap it up tonight. The Bengals are not a good football team. They are 0-3. They lost to Washington with a rookie quarterback.
And to New England.
They are they're just not good. And I don't know why, because they have a ton of. I don't know if T. Higgins played. I didn't watch much of the game last night, but like their defense doesn't seem to be performing the way that it has in the past. And Joe seems like he's still Joe, but like at what point do you have to be like, this guy has been hurt half his career to this point, and outside of one Super Bowl run, like he's got nothing to say about how he's supposed to be an upper echelon quarterback. I just don't understand the Joe Burrow hype.
I think he's the second best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I just don't get it. To me, that's clearly Josh Allen. But like
when he's healthy, I should say. Right? He's been hurt quite a bit. Actually, John Hirsch, one of our latest subs last week, he's actually a Bengals fan. And we talked about it. I was telling him about how the Survivor Football League, and Danny took the Raiders because they were playing Carolina, and I took Cincinnati, and we were both disappointed. He's like, I don't know what's going on, man. He's Joe is doing Joe things, and we just can't seem to win. Their defense is just really bad. So I'll add to the stage here. Like, Joe played really well.
Yeah.
78.3 grade. Their running back played really well. Chase played okay. Higgins, not special, but like not terrible. But when you go to defense, they had a couple good guys. But look at these 30s. Like, this is why did they lose? It's because of this shit right here. If you have too many people in the red, any team's going to be able to do that, right? So I kind of feel bad for Joe Burrow. I do think he's
do Washington now.
Yeah,
and then make it bigger because Zake was got a crush on.
Yep, Daniels, 95.9.
Holy shit! Like I watched him play. Like if this dude is 75-80% of what last night was, he's going to be great in the NFL. So who did the Bengals replace DJ Reader with? Oh, well, let's go back to their. Here, I'll look it up. I got the
Chris Jenkins.
Well, they drafted. I know they drafted him. Cincinnati starts with a C.
Yeah,
that cannot be stopped. So right now, let's see. Let's go with their nickel alignment here. Right now, they have Zach Carter, who is 6'4", 290, so a little light, as one of their interior defensive linemen. And for whatever, I don't know why PFF does this, but like they have Joseph Asai listed as a defensive interior player. He's 263 pounds. Like he's just not a defensive tackle. Let me look up their lineup here real quick.
So this is it, right? This is it.
Yeah. So let's see. You're looking at that. I'll look at the lineup. So for D linemen, they have Justin Rogers, Dominic Davis, Jay Tufella, McKinley Jackson was a recent draft pick, Chris Jenkins, I'm familiar with him, Sheldon Rankins, Zach Carter, BJ Hill, and Lawrence Guy. So I mean, like as far as the interior goes, they have like McKinley. I believe McKinley Jackson is relatively. Yeah, he is also a rookie. So they have 2 rookie interior defensive linemen, and then just not a lot in front of those guys. But like what are you going to do? I mean, you're just going to play 2 rookies. I mean, like, so Detroit fan man, who did the Bengals replace DJ Reader with? The answer is no one. So,
yeah, that's pretty rough.
Oh, yeah. So Brian says that the Bengals had 2 injured D tackles last night, which doesn't help as well. Hill was out to Daxton Hill, sure.
Yeah.
One of their secondary guys. Yeah, that's no good. So great linebackers, but like I'm becoming more and more convinced that I'm thinking that it's probably up there with how good your quarterback is overall. If you're not winning on the lines, you're so far behind in the NFL. Like I'm almost like, I know, you know how we do like the 5 like positions of value or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, edge has always been up there. Interior defensive lineman crept into the top 5 this last year after free agency. Was concerned.
So
but
basically the top 6 is on the offense. There's 3: quarterback, wide receiver, and offensive tackle. And on the defense, there's 3, which was edge, interior defensive line, and cornerback. Those are the top 6.
Corner is now 6th. Yep. So
yeah,
interior defensive
dropped
line
out.
Push quarters down a notch, right? So like, I'm of the opinion now that like heading into like draft season, I'm just going to be like linemen, all of it, all the time. What doesn't
all
matter?
Linemen all the time.
Centers, interior defensive linemen, edge rushers, tackles, all of it. Just go get them.
Like, get these 6 positions over and over and over.
Do
right?
Do it. Like, save yourself some money. Win on the lines. You just got to do it. So.
Well, I think the other thing that is not going well for Cincinnati is, I mean, you look at their line, right? Their right tackle, 47.7 grade.
Oh, so that's their rookie.
Yeah.
And he had to come in because their right tackle, Trent Brown, I think pulled an ACL. And like, if you are watching him on the play that it happens, he's just being bull rushed. And he's just walking backwards, and his body just gives out. He didn't get
so he stepped, something happened, and then he just collapsed,
Puppet strings, down he goes, and he's a big dude. And they had to bring out the cart to take him off the field. So, like, he couldn't even walk off under his own power.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like, if this was what was protecting Goff, where do you think he would be? Like 47, 63, 61, 63, 67.
Well, he had the Detroit Lions offensive line for 2 games this season, and he was the 28th ranked quarterback after week 2.
Right.
So, I mean, like, the bottom, like, he and Bryce Young are hanging out.
Yeah. So, like, and Joe Burrow, that's what he's got. I mean, granted, Joe Burrow is a tier and a half higher than where Goff is, but, like, this can't be good. Like, you can't win a lot of games when your best offensive line is a 67 and everybody else is worse.
Well, I mean, like, if that is the case, right? And that's a known quantity, then like people have got to stop picking Cincinnati to win games and like be a playoff contending pick. And like, the betting line for the Bengals every week has got to be like, well, they're probably not going to be able to function because their line sucks. Like, so, I mean, they're playing Carolina. I mean, like, okay, let me ask you this. And what is the line on this game? 4.5? Carolina.
4.5.
So the Bengals are predicted to win this game because it's plus 4.5, right?
Yep.
I know I'm not in your survivor pool, but I'll pick Carolina to beat Cincinnati this week.
They have to prove that they can win a fucking game, is what you're saying, right?
Kinda.
Prove me wrong.
So, over the last like 3 seasons, like the Bengals have been slow starters but they haven't. I mean, like slow, and there's a difference between being slow and not starting at all.
Yeah.
And they have not started at all.
In fairness, they did come really close to beating the Chiefs. That was a really good game. They played well, and it was right. They lost. It still comes as a W or as an L, but it's not like they didn't show up that game and they got rolled by a bad team. They damn near beat the Super Bowl champs.
That's what you just described pretty much happened last night. Like Washington is not a good team.
Right.
But they went into Cincinnati and made them look ridiculous. And like I know the score was close.
Yeah.
But like he is a rookie quarterback on a team that was picking number 2 in the draft, not because they had someone else's pick, but because they were awful, you know, like so I mean,
I see what you did there. That was a jab at Carolina. Not Carolina. Yeah, Carolina.
It was just to highlight how bad Washington was.
Yeah.
You know, but like can you believe Carolina's like, oh hey, how's that CJ Stroud pick working out? Pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah, that's a real bummer.
That their owner has just got to shut up and like go on vacation during the season or something.
Just let the experts deal with it. Just wait. Just cash the checks every week, right? And then all right. Anything else we want to chat about before we bust out of here and tell everybody thank you for checking in with us?
Yeah, I wanted to give Hatters a shout out because he got me his list of top 3 positions he thinks the Lions need going into next season. And we are going to we'll be here next week because the Lions play on Monday night.
We're going to be here every week. Let's be real.
I know I will be. But like you might have a work thing that you have to go to. Ooh. And then you won't be able to do it from the conference room of the hotel or whatever. Anyways, we don't know that
Not
yet.
next week.
But like, right. Around the holidays, though, who knows what will happen. But then the following week, the Lions have a bye week, and we will be doing our first Lions mock draft that week. So I know Hatters has been waiting for it. Others have been less vocal about it. Mike absolutely despises it. Oh,
I think it's fine now. So defensive end, wide receiver, and interior O-line for Brian.
You know, the interior O-line is an interesting pick because I happen to agree with it. Frank Ragnow is getting more and seriously, like rather serious injuries. His toes fucked up beyond like repair, and like his contract. I think that after next season, you're basically you can get out of Frank Ragnow's contract. So I think he's up after 25, like, or at least like his dead money hit is not as big as what you would save after the 25 season. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, so we're in 24. He plays in 25, and then you save $9 million if you cut him, and that's his age 30 season. He had what was the injury that he sustained in the NFC Championship game? He like fucked up a knee. Was it an MCL or like he got hurt one game last year and just gutted it out, right? And then
he had the broken throat.
Yeah, I mean, like if you look at this guy's injury history, it sucks. Like he's super tough. Like there's no doubt about it. Like he's a super tough dude. But
he literally had a fractured throat.
Yeah, he's broken his throat. His toe cannot be surgically repaired. He's ripped. I've ripped my bicep. I went into shock when I ripped my bicep. He rips his pec and he plays the rest of a football game.
And is expected to play on Monday.
I couldn't believe it when I heard that he had,
or at least wants to play.
Like I actually like almost passed out. Like my body was so fucked up when I tore my bicep. So
didn't Decker tear his pec and he was out for a season?
Yeah. I mean, like,
and
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson last year was the same thing. He played 2 games or whatever. But like Glasgow is into his early 30s.
all those injuries. It's amazing.
I mean, like,
he still hosts a fishing
He
show.
should absolutely retire and start a fishing show. Absolutely. Like Fishing with Frank or something. Like, that's just, I mean, if the Kelseys can get $100 million for their fucking podcast, the fishing channel or whatever, like, what is that?
Ragnet?
No. There's like a channel that fishing's on.
Like the Outdoors Network or something?
Yeah, something like that. Should give Frank Ragnow $10 million to be like Fishing with Frank, and he just goes out and catches fish.
Yeah.
Like, he would love that. He does it anyways. And like, I don't know how much you can, I don't know.
The Kelseys got $100 million for their podcast.
Yeah. So
where's our money, Drew?
If Travis,
we've got 124 subscribers. That's got to be worth something. Right?
Well, I checked during our broadcast, Mike. We're up to 127.
127.
Yeah.
Ah.
Kenny said he subscribed, so we must be getting people.
Yep, and maybe Detroit Fan Man.
Yeah, Grizzly Outdoors is his current YouTube. Oh, thank you, dude. Grizzly Outdoors is his current
Grizzly
YouTube
Man.
show. For those who don't know, okay, that's awesome. A general knowledge show is called Narf Knows. But like, well, here's my point, I guess, is that like there are more opportunities now for people. There's more, I think, better reasons right now for players who have like gone through their second contract. They've had a good NFL career. There is still opportunities out there for them to make really good money and not go through the absolute abuse of an NFL season. And I just think that like Frank Ragnow has maybe given what his body can give. Like, I don't know that you can ask him to do anymore. There's an episode where him and Goff are fishing. It's hilarious. I mean, it sounds hilarious. I mean, like those two guys, like, hey man, we play. You guys want to just like fish a little bit? Like, I mean, I would probably watch it. I mean, it sounds like you guys are watching it, you know. So it's like, oh, so we might as well check it out.
Yeah.
But like, I think depending on how severe his pec injury is, anything else that might happen this year, like, I think that if you get another year out of him after this year, like, you should be fortunate.
Yeah.
You know, so like interior offensive line makes a lot of sense. Ragnow plus Glasgow does appear to be regressing this season, which is a bummer. You know, so like Zeitler's 34. You know, like you could
that's Twilight like, for a lineman.
It might be 3 brand new players this time 2026. You know, so
yeah. All right. So before we close out and beg for subscribers and comments and likes and all that stuff, which you should do, subscribe, comment, like, tell your friends. I saw this and it cracked me up because it is 100% true. Sam Darnold leads the NFL in touchdown passes. Justin Fields and the Steelers are 3-0. Rookie Caleb Williams has the most passing yards in a game of any quarterback. And Andy Dalton is the only quarterback to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game.
Yeah.
The 2024 NFL season is drunk. I'm like, crazy. It is, I mean, who would have thunk this, right? Like, why is it not Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers now that he's healthy, like Goff? I mean, Laporta has basically nothing, to show for it. And, you picked him to be the receiving touchdown champion of the NFL. I thought he would have
more touchdowns this year than anyone in the NFL. Like, I was just all on the bandwagon, and it's just not worked out that way in any way, shape, or form, unfortunately.
Yeah. Probably injury related, a bit from the preseason, but like, hopefully we can get that shit on track.
Hatters, I already got your stuff, man. You're good.
Yeah. We're good.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Brian's, I'm going to highlight this real quick.
Yeah.
That's 100% right. It's 100% right.
In 3 years? Yeah, because Decker will probably be gone.
Well, his extension will be up on that 3rd year. So, Brian's got it.
Right on. All right. Anything else for the good of the crew?
No.
All right. Appreciate you guys for popping in. Yeah, tell your friends. We got some new folks. Like, I don't remember Fan Man popping in previously, so that was awesome.
It's always fun to see new people. There was another guy hanging out.
The 49ers, right?
49ers.
The Niners thing.
And then Mark G, I don't remember seeing before.
So I think I remember Mark G.
Do you?
Maybe not.
Mark,
I don't know. I'm terrible at names, so
I
appreciate you
apologize
guys
if
for
you've been here
popping in.
before. We love everybody.
Yeah.
So there's another guy.
LM.
What is
I don't know who
happening?
that is.
Are we
right.
going
What?
viral? Is this what viral is? All right.
I don't. Different kind of viral. I'm old.
Oh
All right.
God, if that was a joke, it was awful. Anyways, let's go Lions. We'll see you next week, guys.
All right.